Hold. Please take care of yourself and each other. Good night.
KUAM TV8, first on Guam.
KUAM News headlines are presented by Calvo's Insurance, protecting Micronesia for 85 years. Matson and the Adahi Itano program. Apply at matson.com. New Jeep Gladiators up to $7,000 off now at Cars Plus. Named the best vehicle for adventure in 2024. Get your Jeep Gladiator today at Cars Plus. McDonald's of Guam, I'm loving it. And King's Restaurant, serving your local breakfast, lunch, and dinner favorites for over 45 years.
Ahead on KUAM News Primetime.
Straight ahead on KUAM News Primetime, a woman dies after a cesarean section in Guam last year while visiting the island on a maternity tourism trip. Matsuki Hirayama has those details. Plus, Joe Nuggan Sharper shows you a challenge circulating to help support the island's homeless population. And it's time to defy gravity. Wicked hits the big screen. We'll give you a look at what you can expect if you have plans to check out the movie at the Micronesia Mall theaters. Good evening in Hafaday, Guam. I'm Jason Salas. These are your top headlines on this Fresco Friday. And we got an update to a story we've been sharing all afternoon. Is just before coming on the air, the all clear has now been given after staff and customers were evacuated from the Micronesia Mall just up the road from us here in Dededo following a report of a bomb threat. The offices of Guam Homeland Security and Civil Defense received the call just before 3 p.m. this afternoon as GPD and the fire department responded to the scene and thoroughly swept the property. The all-clear was given around 5:40 p.m. after officials confirmed that the threat was not credible. In other news, a South Korean mother who came to Guam to give birth on U.S. soil died from complications after a cesarean section, according to a Korean news outlet. The woman traveled here on a birth tourism trip last summer and died after she was allegedly left alone at a resort without care. This next report is with Matsuki Hirayama.
A Korean woman on a birth tourism trip to Guam died after a C-section last year, according to NBC News, a top broadcaster in South Korea. The mother, who was in her 30s, is only identified by the surname Kim. She was found dead at Alupang Beach Tower in Tamuning last June, 12 days after giving birth at a hospital just 5 minutes away. Guam Memorial Hospital spokesperson Cindy Hansen confirming with KUAM that Kim was a patient at GMH. NBC says Kim was in the process of immigrating to the island. She and her husband traveled to Guam a month before giving birth through a domestic agency that arranges birth tourism packages. The sole purpose of this controversial practice is for the anchor baby to obtain U.S. citizenship. The husband now suing the agency for negligence. The husband returned to Korea for work, believing a postpartum helper hired by the agency would take care of Kim and their newborn at the resort around the clock. 10 days later, he received a message from his wife saying she was experiencing a headache and trouble seeing. The husband says he contacted the postpartum helper and the local manager of the agency several times, asking them to take his wife to the hospital quickly. But the next morning, she was found dead with no one by her side. She was left alone in her room for over 20 hours and without ever being taken to the hospital. Autopsy results show the cause of death to be pulmonary embolism and thrombosis, high risks likely to develop from C-sections. The report notes it's why in Korea, medical personnel closely monitor for the symptoms after childbirth, but the mother was discharged from GMH the day after she gave birth. Hansen says, quote, to avoid any potential HIPAA violations, GMHA has no comment at this time. KUAM also reached out to the Korean consulate, who confirms they helped the bereaved family with funeral arrangements. They say they also have been trying to find the unnamed agency the past year. GMH and the Department of Public Health and Social Services both tell KUAM neither agencies track birth tourism numbers. Meantime, the story, which broke about a week ago, already catching the attention of 2 million online. NBC is the same media company the Guam Visitors Bureau partnered with in 2018 to bring K-pop girl group Twice to Guam. This also comes at a time when GVB is trying to revive the island's lagging tourism industry. Just recently, the governor returned from her trip to Korea, where she was working to boost visitor arrivals. Matsuki Hirayama, KUAM News.
From the crime beat tonight, a level 1 sex offender will spend more time in prison after being convicted in a new case accusing him of repeatedly molesting a young girl known to him. A Superior Court jury returned with a verdict finding 49-year-old Luke Taitano guilty of attempted first-degree criminal sexual conduct and second-degree criminal sexual conduct. The victim was 9 years old at the time the abuse started, and he faces life in prison. Attorney General Douglas Moylan states, and I quote, "This reaffirms the studies showing pedophiles should never be released back into our villages as they will reoffend again, and our common sense principle that parents must watch over and protect their children, especially their daughters." According to the Guam Sex Offender Registry, Taitano was convicted of similar charges in 2013. The victim in that case was an 8-year-old girl. A man on trial for allegedly selling meth in prison was denied his request for acquittal after parties rested their case in the District Court of Guam. Richard Espidion now waits for a federal jury to decide his fate. More than half the pound of meth, as we reported, inside clear straws and baggies, glass pipes, bongs, vapes, mobile phones, SIM cards, and cigarettes were found hidden in his cell at the Department of Corrections. Co-defendant John Boy Duenas has since taken prosecutors' plea deal. Espidion is facing drug possession charges and possession with the intent to distribute 50 grams or more of methamphetamine. Prison records show Espidion was being held at DOC for dealing drugs. Former player for the Toronto Blue Jays John Hattick Jr. is waiting for a Superior Court judge to decide on his request to dismiss the charges filed against him. Hattick, who appeared before Judge Maria Senzon, faces illegal drugs and weapons possession charges. In October 2023, defense secured a plea agreement after negotiations before it was unexpectedly withdrawn by a former prosecutor. Defense attorney Peter argues the indictment should be dismissed for prosecutorial misconduct and vindictive prosecution. Senzon took the matter under advisement. In July 2021, authorities caught Hattick allegedly carrying a firearm along with 3 baggies of meth, Xanax pills, and a scale in a Tooning parking lot. A man already facing theft-related charges is back in prison after being accused in multiple thefts reported this year to police. 42-year-old Christopher Kreischer has been charged with burglary, retail theft, and theft of property. On May 3rd, a Tumon store reported the suspect stole a laptop and took off before returning it, later stating he took it by accident. On May 29th, the suspect was caught on camera allegedly taking multiple items from another store in the island's tourism capital. Then on November 1st, the suspect allegedly stole multiple items from a car in Tooning. Kreischer allegedly admitted to 2 of the 3 incidents. Elsewhere, a man has been taken into custody after being accused of illegally fishing in the Tumon Bay Marine Preserve. 18-year-old Joyful Richard has been charged with fishing within marine preserves as court documents state. Department of Agriculture conservation officers noticed lights in the water on Wednesday night. A pair of suspects walked onto the shore but immediately fled to a nearby jungle. Officers were able to take 1 suspect into custody and found fishing gear along with 4 lobsters and 53 assorted fish. There is yet to be word if authorities have identified the second suspect. Well, more positive news this evening. In this season of giving, you want to support the Guam Homeless Coalition and their vital work with those experiencing homelessness. Jonah Goncharfers has more on the Tag Your It Challenge and how you and your family can participate.
It is made up of individuals who are highly committed and dedicated to serving our homeless individuals. It is a collective of organizations, individuals, and community partners who come together to try and solve some challenges that we face as a community regarding homelessness.
That's Guam Homeless Coalition Chairperson Asia Ramos sharing what the nonprofit organization does for the island. The people who make up the GHC take part in critical events such as the Point in Time Count, which is a national effort, and Passport to Services. The GHC also assists in various community outreach.
So you'll see teams go out on the streets looking for people to connect them to the services and oftentimes providing food and commodities for them.
As a nonprofit, much of what they do and provide is made possible by donations. To help offset costs for all the work they do, the GHC has kicked off their Tag Your It Challenge as part of the homelessness Awareness Month and runs till Giving Tuesday, December 3rd.
It's asking individuals to provide a contribution and to spread the word and the goodwill by tagging a friend, a coworker, a partner, another organization to donate to the cause. These funds are really important for us because they go directly